So if you haven't seen already, Canon have just announced their new Canon Powershot V1, their Canon R50V, and the Canon RF 20mm f1.4. And in today's video, we're just going to talk about it, and I'm just going to give my honest, raw thoughts about what I think about these two new cameras and the new lens, because I think these can be very good for content creators and potentially videographers as well, for like a C angle for one of the cameras maybe, and especially with that awesome new 20mm lens. That's one thing I'm definitely interested in. But let's just jump in first to talk about this Canon Powershot V1, because when this actually was announced, I wasn't that bothered about it at all, really. Leave a comment down below if you're interested in this camera, because it's definitely marketed to certain people. But when I actually saw Peter McKinnon's video on it, I actually was pretty interested in it. I thought it'd have been pretty good. I was actually thinking of it replacing my, if I can find it now, replace my DJI Pocket 3, because this is kind of like my vlog BTS camera that I love, because it's got a 1-inch sensor, it's stable on the gimbal, it can shoot in D-Log-M, 4K, and the reason why I loved it is because I got it on a good deal anyway. It comes with the DJI Mic 2, and which is just perfect for vlogging and content creation, because you don't have to worry about anything like audio. You can use the audio in this obviously, but the audio from the DJI Mic 2 is just so nice. Brand new, it's about £500 I think, or £550. And when I saw this Canon Powershot V1, if we actually go down and have a look at the specs, it's got a large 1.4-inch sensor with a built-in 2.8 lens. So this Pocket 3 has a 1-inch sensor, so it's got a bigger sensor than the Pocket 3. I think the Powershot V1 is just a little bit smaller than the Micro Four Thirds sensor, which is really cool for a camera this small. And for a vlogger's style camera, I think it's got some really nice quality on it as well. So having a nice 1.4-inch sensor and it's got a built-in lens, if you didn't know, is good in low light. It's not as good as I think this is f1.8 or f2. I think this lens, I'm pretty sure it's f1.8. So it's not as good as low light than this camera, but it has got the bigger sensor. So that means it could be performed better in low light anyway. At the end of the day, if you're in a really low light situation, none of these cameras are going to look amazing. They only look good in proper lighting, just the same as any other camera. What did actually get me interested in this camera, I like how compact it is. I've never really been bothered about cameras like this, but you've got your shutter button, your power button, and then the power zoom as well. I'm not actually sure what the lens is. It should say. So here's the full specifications anyway. Let's just look on here. So like I said, 1.4-inch sensor, which is for high quality images and low light performance. It's not going to be amazing in low light, but it's going to be decent. It's got 22 megapixels, so it's going to capture some amazing photos. I've got my R6 Mark II is 24 megapixels, and that's more than enough. 4K 60p, and it can do 120 frames per second in full HD, which is literally the same as my Canon R6 Mark II, which I paid £2,400 for. It's obviously a lot cheaper now, but it's got dual pixel autofocus, so very similar, if not the same, as my Canon R6 Mark II, where it can track the eyes. It's super sharp, and it's really the focus is great. I'm using it now and it's currently focusing on this eye. I can use the joystick to change between the two eyes if I want to. It's just really cool. And here's the lens that we was on about. It's a 16 to 50mm f2.8. So I think this is the equivalent of it. Yes, so the 35mm equivalent is a 16 to 50mm. So you've got a real nice 16mm wide angle lens. So compared to the DJI Pocket 3, it's 4mm wider, because this is a 20mm lens, and you can zoom in to 50mm at 4.5 aperture. So the 16mm is f2.8, and when you zoom into 50mm, that's when it gets to f4.5, which I think's fine. Obviously f2.8 throughout would have been amazing, but that's when lenses get very expensive. And if you're going to be using this in auto a lot, or maybe the odd manual time, I think that's fine. f4.5 is not terrible. Some zoom lenses, like my old kit lens, went up to 7.1, so that's just not that good. But f4.5 is not too bad. And what I like about the Powershot V1 compared to something like the DJI Pocket 3 is that it has the zoom, optical zoom, whereas on this camera it is all digital zoom. So if you do want to punch in by 2 times and you're shooting in 4K, obviously you're going to lose that, and if you punch into 40mm, you're going to get that 1080p look. But they did just release an update where if you do, I don't know how they're doing it, but you can still retain that 4K image and punching in by 2 times. So you can get a 40mm lens look from this camera just by punching in, but you can't do that mid recording. You have to choose whether you're going to shoot in 20 mm, or if you want to punch into 40mm in 4K, and you can still get that nice image. But obviously with something like the Powershot V1, you can change the zoom mid-recording, it doesn't matter. And two, it's wider and it's tighter. So you're getting 4mm wider and you're getting 10mm tighter as well. Obviously the f-stop throughout of this is f1.8 or f2, and this is f2.8 and 4.5, but you're getting that bigger sensor. So it's a lot of different trade-offs here. It's got optical image stabilization for smooth video, so it's not going to be as good as a gimbal like the DJI Pocket 3, but it's nice that it has some image stabilization, because otherwise it will just get too shaky. Movie digital IS as well, so it's got even more enhanced digital IS, which I never really use, but it can be quite helpful. And the thing that really surprised me and I thought was like, wow, this camera has this, like what, is it has Canon log 3, which is the log profile that you'll find in every single camera apart from the R5 Mark II. That's not their cinema cameras. So the R5C, the R6 Mark II, the R7, it has Canon log 3, the exact same. So you can get that lovely, nice dynamic range and log profile from your Powershot V1 in Canon log 3 in that. That is literally what I use on a daily basis. And another thing that I thought was really cool is it's got a built-in ND filter. You only see this on cinema cameras, which is just amazing. Now, they've probably done this because it might be hard to screw on a filter when it's a power zoom lens, but having a built-in ND filter is just great for getting nice shallow depth of field outside. Now, I'm pretty sure it's only 3 stops and that's it. You can't change it from 2 to 5. It's only 3, which obviously isn't ideal, because sometimes in real harsh bright conditions you do need to have like 5 stops of ND just to cut that light out a little bit. But yeah, at least it's still there. Like, they didn't have to put it in at all. Another thing is that they've got like an easy plug and play live streaming in, which, yeah, Digit X processor as well, the same as in my Canon R6 Mark II, I think. I think this is a great little camera for vloggers, which is why when I was watching that video, I was very like interested in maybe picking this up instead of my Pocket 3, like potentially selling my Pocket 3 and buying this, because it's got real nice wide angle look, so I can crop into vertical as well if I want. It's got that vlogger style. It's going to match up perfectly with my Canon R6 Mark II and my R7 if I do bring it out for a quick vlog, if I want to get nice B-roll with my cameras and then I want to get a quick vlog with that camera. It's got Canon log 3 and it's got a bigger sensor, so it's going to match well with my cameras. And it also has a built-in microphone as well, which is actually sounds very good for just your casual vlog. And it's so tiny on top here as well, which is nice to see. It's got its own dead cat. I thought this would have been great. Obviously, it's not as good as a lav mic like my DJI Pocket 3, but it's nice that it does have like a built-in mic, because they didn't have to do that at all. I was really impressed with this camera, and like I said, I was really thinking about upgrading from, well, maybe not upgrading, but replacing my DJI Pocket 3 with the Powershot V1 until I saw the price. And I really think it's such a great camera and it's got great specs, but I just can't see, like, it costs, in the UK anyway, £960 for this camera, like full retail price. I genuinely thought this type of camera was going to cost maximum, with these specs, maybe like £700. I just, in my head, assumed it's like a £600 camera, maybe $750 or something, but nearly £1,000 for this camera is just so expensive. Like, you can literally get the Canon R7, which is an APS-C style camera with 30 megapixels, similar specs to this. I think I saw it for like 850 quid somewhere, similar price, and that's an interchangeable lens camera that you can put any lens on you want. You can get your vlogger wide angle look, you can get a tight if you want to punch in, and you can get better lenses for it. Obviously, it defeats the purpose because it is so small and it's meant to be a really compact vlogging camera, which is why I really think it should be aimed at that consumer price around £650, because I just think this is really expensive just for a camera with a fixed lens. And yes, it's nice wide angle, 16 to 50 millimeters is a very good focal length, but I just think that's a very expensive for a camera like this. Like, I don't know, leave your comments down below. That's just my opinion. I just assumed it would be a lot cheaper, and obviously because this cost me £500, if you're going to be looking in the market to get a vlogging camera in 2025, you see this Canon Powershot V1 for 970 quid, or you can see this DJI Pocket 3 for about £500, and it comes with a lav mic, and it comes with a battery extender and a tripod, and you still get an amazing looking image, and it's got a gimbal. So yeah, I don't know, leave your comments down below what you think, because I just think that's really expensive for what it is. But like I said, there's no way I'm selling this camera and funding an extra £500 nearly just to get that camera, just so I can get like a C-Log-free image that looks similar to my other cameras, because this looks amazing anyway, and it's on a gimbal, like I said, and I've got a lav mic, so it is, in my opinion, has a better audio solution, because you don't have to be close to the camera. You can put it down on the tripod and walk around and still get clean audio. So that's just what I think anyway. How is this more expensive than the next camera we're going to be talking about, the Canon R50V? Because this is a camera that I think looks very, very cool, because it's similar to the R50, but it's a video style camera. But this camera, if I go back to it, is £729. So it's £230 cheaper than the Powershot V1. And this is an APS-C camera, so it's got a bigger sensor, and it's an interchangeable lens camera, just like my R7. So you can get lenses for it, like the new Sigma 10 to 18mm f2.8. That's a great vlogging camera. Or the Samyang 12mm f2. That's a great vlogging lens as well. But you can change it to something like a 50mm f1.8 and get a real nice shallow depth of field with that lens, rather than the f4.5 on the 50mm on the Powershot V1. And all you have to do is change the camera. The R50V is tiny, and if I'm being honest, I love the look of it. I think it looks very cool. It looks very compact as well. It's got no viewfinder, which some people might find that annoying, but it is aimed at vloggers and content creators. And there's not much like customizable buttons on the back here. I think it looks really cool. It's got a record button at the top. It's also got a record button on the front as well. You've got your fully articulating screen, which is obviously nice to see. You've got a mic input as well, so you can add on lav mics, or you can add on headphone jack to monitor audio. It's got a HDMI port as well, and a USB-C port, so you can hook up an external monitor for it as well if you want to. This is a very compact and small camera, and for £200 cheaper, you can literally get this camera, and you can spend that extra £200 that you was going to spend on that on like a nifty 50 and get 1.8 shallow depth of field. Leave your comments down below what you actually think, because it's not just that on this camera as well. Obviously, you can use RF lenses. Any RF lens you want, you can upgrade in the future. This could be a great C camera. Like, I'm filming a wedding on Monday, and I'm going to have my R6 Mark II and my R7 shooting the wedding. But if I want something cheap like this for about £720 for a C angle on a tripod, just shooting the groom or something, because it has a dual pixel CMOS autofocus just like my Canon R6 Mark II. It's an APS-C sensor just like my Canon R7. It can shoot 4K 50. Now I do think there is a little bit of a crop in there. It's got 6K oversampling as well, which is what my Canon R6 Mark II does. And it does 100 frames per second in full HD. And again, it shoots in Canon log-free. So I can literally match this camera with my R6 Mark II and my R7 up perfectly in post. And for £750, like, I genuinely am very impressed with this camera. Obviously, I've got my Pocket 3 for vlogging and stuff like that. But I've always missed that Canon log-free, proper like mirrorless camera look for vlogging and getting BTS. And I've been looking at a little lens to go with my R7. But I don't really I love my R7, but something like a Powershot V1 or this R50V would be great for that. And considering this is like £720, give it a couple months or next year, and this is going to be on a good discount. If you are a vlogger and you get the Powershot V1, for example, the annoying thing is, if you get to 50mm, I've noticed this a lot, especially with my 24-70. When I zoom into 50, I feel like I want that extra little bit of reach. Even when I'm at 70 sometimes, like, you want that extra little bit of reach. The wide angle, obviously, that's more wide than enough, but sometimes people might want just to punch in that little bit more. And especially if you're in a low light situation and you punch into 50mm and the aperture goes down to f4.5, it's going to start getting a little bit more noisy and not look as good, especially with it being smaller than Micro Four Thirds sensor. So obviously it's a lot smaller than an APS-C style camera. It's going to start getting it looking a bit grainy, even with C-Log-free and stuff like that. So I think it's much better off getting the R50V, where you can get lenses in the future, because these vloggers might get the Powershot V1 and spend £1,000 on it, and then want to actually start learning filmmaking a little bit more, learning YouTube a little bit more, and getting a bit more creative shots. And with the Powershot V1, you're stuck at that lens that you've got. You can't change the lens. But if you do invest in the R50V instead, yes, it's a little bit heavier. Yes, you don't get the built-in ND, but you get the opportunity to delve into the Canon RF system, and you could literally have this camera for ages and just upgrade all your V lenses. Like, you can get so many different lenses for it and unleash your creativity that way, get way better, improve on your filmmaking skills. And like I said, if your vloggers or your YouTube content creators like doing this and wants to delve into it a bit more, you don't have to look to buy an R50V after, or an R7 or something, or a Canon R8. You've already got an R50V where you can buy lenses for. So I just think it's just looks a better camera overall. That's just my opinion. Leave your thoughts down below, but they're them cameras anyway. People are not so happy with this announcement, but I think it's pretty cool, as long as they hopefully release the R6 Mark III soon as well, because I'm really looking forward to that camera. Let's move on to the RF 20mm f1.4, because this is a lens that I very like the look of, and I'm missing a nice prime in my set. So I've got the 35mm f1.8 and the 50mm f1.8, and the rest I have zooms. So I have the 18 to 35 Sigma lens f1.8, so it's similar to have like a prime lens, but one, it's an APS-C lens, so it's only built for APS-C cameras, so I can only really use it on my R7, and it's not a full frame lens, so you don't get that full frame look. I have my 16 to 35 f4, my 7200 f2.8, and my Tamron 24 to 72.8. The problem with my 35 and my 51.8 is the focusing. I don't really like it with video. People say it's smoother and it's like better, but in my opinion, I much prefer the focusing on the L series lenses. But it does have image stabilization, which is why I love my 35mm. I love that lens, and I don't think it's worth me selling it to buy the 35 f1.4, especially because these hybrid lenses, they're made for video, but they don't have image stabilization. And for how expensive they are, at around 1600 for an f1.4 lens, 1500, you can get them for, I've seen them for 1100 to be fair. So let's say about 1300 for these lenses. Just for a prime lens at f1.4 compared to like my RF 35mm f1.8, which has got image stabilization as well and really close focusing distance. It's like nearly £1,000 more just to go down to f1.8, and it doesn't have IS. So that's why I'm very reluctant to get in some of these, like especially the 50mm 1.4. I would love that lens, but I can't justify myself spending over £1,000 just to get to f1.4. Obviously it's got better focusing, but I just can't justify myself spending over £1,000 just to get to like f1.4 basically. I don't even use my 50mm as it is, but I love the look of a 24mm 1.4. The only wide angle lenses I have really is on my 24 to 70, which goes down to 2.8, and that's very heavy, that lens. I love it, but it's really heavy. And my 16 to 35mm f4, which is only f4. So the 24mm has been very like on my eye, and like I've been looking at it a lot because I do like the look of it. Getting a wide angle look inside, it's good for vlogging as well. It can be a really great gimbal lens. But for some reason, this 20mm 1.4 is like really catching my interest. It's very similar obviously to the 24mm, but you get that extra little bit of width. So it's even better for a gimbal lens. So at the minute, my gimbal lens, I don't even know where my gimbal is. I must have put it away somewhere. I thought I had it up there. Oh, okay, my gimbal is literally, I'm using it at the minute to film this video. That is my tripod. So yeah, my gimbal at the minute is my DJI RS4 Mini, and I'm using this Canon R7 with the Sigma 18 to 35, which is lovely because it's f1.8 and I can get up close to 50mm, but it's only 28mm, so I can't get that wide with it. And when we use the gimbal at my day job at work, we use the R5C or the C80 with the 15 to 35. So 15mm compared to 28 like is a massive difference, but I've always thought 15mm is too wide and a bit too distorted. I like going to 24mm a lot on the gimbal on that lens, or punching into 35mm, or turn into like super 35 mode and punching into like 50mm. But for like, if I want to get a wide, I tend to put it on 24 a lot just because I love the look of that focal length. But I've also, if I just want to get a little bit wider than 24, I change it down to 20mm because it's not getting into that distorted look yet, 20mm. It's just getting there, I think. It's still a nice looking shot. And that 20mm is actually the equivalent, like this is what my Pocket 3 is. And I love the 20mm on that. It's great for vlogging, it's great for like establishers. Sometimes I do think I just want to punch in a little bit more. So that's where these prime lenses are a little bit weaker. But if you do have something like an R5C, which is 8K, and you put it into Super 35 mode, you can get a 20mm lovely wide angle look at f1.4, put it into Super 35 mode, and then you've got something like a 30mm-ish lens, 31, 32mm lens, which is like a really nice, a lot tighter, similar to that 35mm shot. I think these lenses are great. I would love to have them. The great thing about these new VCM 20mm f or the 1.4 primes is that they're the same size and weight. So if I do have a 20mm 1.4 for example on the gimbal, and then I want to change it to 50mm, I can literally just hot swap it and I don't need to rebalance it because they're the same size and very similar weight, I think. So like I said, I can just put it into Super 35 mode on the R5C and get a punched in look then, or I can literally just hold on a sec, let me just change my lens. Takes what, a couple seconds, put my lens away. I don't have to rebalance it because, like I said, it's the same size and weight. So that's why I love these prime lenses, because I think that's what DJI are doing with their lenses on their DJI Ronin 4D. They're all the same size and weight. Same with Lumix, they're doing that as well. So I love that Canon are doing this for video shooters. With it being 20mm as well, the focal distance I've heard as well on this, I'm not sure if I can see it here. The focal distance is very close, smooth focus pull, so it's got very minimal focus breathing as well when you have the in-camera on, and which is great. Like, look at that looks lovely. The focus like breathing is non-existent. On my 24-70 Tamron, it is terrible. I hate the focus breathing on that. It is so bad, and it's just, yeah, it's not good at all. It's just horrible, constantly hunting all the time. It's not that bad on this lens, but when you put it in autofocus, it's awful. But for stuff like this, manual shooting, and just look at that bokeh as well. This is a 20mm lens. Look at that bokeh for a 20mm lens. It looks so good. And with this, like the close focusing distance, it's got 11 blade circular aperture as well for that lovely bokeh. Obviously the iris ring, VCM motor for silent, ultra fast autofocus. So it's great if you are talking to the camera, it's going to be completely silent. It's got a custom button as well, which is great, and a control ring. Yeah, there's not much really else to say about these lenses. I would love to try them out. I would really like this one. For some reason, this is drawing to me, this 20mm one and the 24mm, but yeah, I don't know. I think these lenses are great, and I would love to pair it with my Canon R6 Mark II. And like I said, even if I have put it on the R7, I've got now a 32-ish millimeter f1.4, so it is close to that 35mm if I want to use it on my R7. Leave your comments down below. What do you think to this new lens? What do you think to the new VCM lenses overall? And what do you think to them two new cameras? Are they a win for Canon, or are they just another disappointment? I think they're both a win, even though the V1 is very expensive. I think they're both a win for certain people because they are targeting a certain audience that really would like Canon to jump in that world, because a lot of people are using the Pocket 3 and also the Sony cameras. And I think these cameras, they do beat them cameras in my opinion. Obviously the DJI Pocket 3 has its own benefits with it being a lot cheaper. It's got the lav mic, it's got a gimbal, but I think these beat the Sony cameras anyway. And that R50V I think is a great little camera for what you're getting for the price. I don't think you can go wrong, especially because, like I said, compared to the V1, you can put interchangeable lenses on it. So yeah, leave your thoughts down below what you think to these cameras and that lens. I'm really looking forward to it. I'd love to try that lens out in the future, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more reviews on it because I think it's pretty good for Canon. It's a pretty good win. I would like to see the V1 a little bit cheaper, but anyway, that's what it is. You're getting a lot for your money still. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. And this is kind of like a little podcasty, just camera talk video. Very minimal editing. I just wanted to get my thoughts out on these new cameras and that lens. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See you later.